Teachers I am speaking to. I'm saying that I don't know. And we are ready to solve. We even have a technical committee. Technical committee has been formed just to solve all these problems one after the other. So I want to indulge you to please put all these issues on paper, submit them to me, select 5 leaders who sit down and solve the problem. Thank you very much for coming.
There you have the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service addressing the aggrieved teachers yesterday. The request was simple: put it on paper. Are they willing to put it on paper? Or would you say that the issues have already been made known to the Ghana Education Service and perhaps they are playing the ostrich? We're to find out from the gentlemen who have joined me in studio, and later we'll be joined on the phone line by the Public Affairs Director of the Ghana Education Service, Mr. Daniel Fenyi. Let's engage Simon Kofi Nate, is a spokesperson for aggrieved newly posted teachers. Maxwell Adongo, Northeast Regional Representative of the same group of aggrieved newly posted teachers. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for your time. How are you doing? Adongo, use the microphone for me. Raise it a bit. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Great.
Good morning,
great. Why are you on strike? Why are you picketing? Let me put it that way. Not on strike, but you're picketing. Why are you doing that?
Thank you very much, and then good morning to your listeners and all who are watching live on social media. I must say, as you rightly put it, we are aggrieved, and we think the best way to have our issues resolved for us was to come to the headquarters of the GES to come and show our displeasure as to why they have decided to keep our staff IDs for 10 months, and some few who also have their staff IDs have been denied salary for the same period of months, while others whom we started the same work with on the same day, the same time frame, have received their staff IDs and they are taking their monthly salaries.
There's no explanation to this?
Well, previously when we came, we were told that the clearance that was issued last year, that warranted our posting, had actually expired in December last year. And so we were told that a letter was written to the formal administration for an extension, of which it wasn't done till date. And one thing we are finding it difficult to understand is the fact that we are very much aware that the clearance was given to a group of people. Let's say we are 5. The clearance had come for 5 of us. And so we expect that it covers the 5 of us. So along the line, if 3 out of the 5 should be active and then 2 out of the 5 will be inactive, to some extent it raises questions. And so that is what we still don't understand.
I see. I don't go to you. To what extent is this a situation of no ID cards, no salaries for some of your members? To what extent is the reach and spread in the Northeast region?
All right, so I also say good morning to cherished listeners and the good people of Northeast, especially my students. I want to correct the name. The name is Adogo.
Adogo, okay.
Yes, not Adongo.
Not Adongo, sorry about that.
As you may be aware, the Northeast is a deprived place in terms of every district. And most of my colleagues from that end are from the South, the Ashanti regions, and we have gathered there. And looking at the facilities we enjoy and being there, and the cost of living. For example, I am in Pani. after the Wanjuga border.
Okay.
And to come to Chereponi, it's about 45 minutes ride with a motorbike.
Right.
So, and some are also far away from where we are. And for you to get even food stuff, you have to come to the Chereponi township. So without a motorbike, you are at a disadvantage. No potable drinking water. So if you don't want to contract any disease, then that means that even your food you have to eat should be you should use at least pure water. And a bag of water costs 12 cedis. How many will you use to cook? How many will you drink? Where is that money coming from? And I can say most of them are with children. So coupled of all this, you have to go to class and teach again. And a hungry stomach going to class to impact the next generation is a very tiring and difficult thing one can even think of doing.
What was the understanding at the time when you were being, drafted into the system? What were you told?
When the clearance came, we were given a deadline that somewhere mid-August to ensure that we submit every details to the regional and district offices respectively, so that they can fast track our things. So even those who were able to get to their regional office, they even went to their various schools to get their assumption of duty and submit back to the offices. And almost from what we have gathered, everybody has done that. So whatever we need to do as teachers, as a newly entrant, we're able to do all those things to meet the deadline.
I see. So for you satisfied every prerequisite that was there.
Exactly.
Sure.
So that's where you don't see why your ID cards have not gotten to you. Do you gentlemen have ID cards, by the way?
We don't.
That's tough IDs.
But you have colleagues who have ID cards.
Exactly.
Sure.
Who are also, giving clearance the same period that you were giving clearance.
Yes.
But is it the first time you are talking to GES about this matter?
It's not the first time.
But the GES Deputy Director General says she doesn't know about it.
That was an unfortunate statement she made yesterday, and I think that's I would say it's aggravated the whole situation. In that in April we were there. Personally, it's the fourth time being to their office, and then in April we came there in numbers as we did yesterday.
Right.
And so it was on the same issue. So for her to have said that it's the first time she's getting to know, it's very unfortunate on her part.
But she's made a request that puts the grievances on paper. Have you previously written to the GES?
Like I said, it is not a new thing.
Right.
For us to be writing.
But is there an official complaint from your grouping to the GES?
Oh yes, we've done that.
Right.
We've done that.
So that you don't see the need to rewrite what the GES already has.
Like she mentioned, there was a committee that was set up by the Director General. That is when we started making follow-ups on reasons why we are not getting the staff IDs.
Right.
And so a committee was formed. But the unfortunate thing is, those who were part of the committee were mostly from the Ashanti region. It got to a time when their issues got resolved, and so it was like, once my issue has been resolved, there is no need coming all the way from Ashanti to come and fight for those in the eastern and central. That is how come.
So you within your front, you were disjointed because some people got there, so they decided that why should I come and partner with them to go and chase?
Exactly. That is what it's looking like. Yes, and so that's why the faces they saw yesterday were quite new, because most of us are coming from the central region, and then some from eastern. My brother is coming from the northeast. Others too came from Bono and other regions. So yesterday, what she mentioned, in fact, we didn't sleep on it. We went ahead to present the issues on paper and then submitted it to them.
Okay. So as we speak this morning, the GES has your petition. With your stated, demands.
Exactly.
What are the demands? This run us by.
So I think I have a copy here. So we are demanding for the immediate release of our staff IDs.
Okay.
That is for those of us who do not have our staff IDs. And then those who have the staff IDs but still haven't received any alerts in their account.
Okay.
As for the 10 months. So these are the two major issues that we are fighting for.
Right. So people have worked for 10 months and have not been paid a dime.
Exactly.
I find that strange.
It is strange. Very strange.
So, if you will, for six months in this regime, under this regime, you have not been paid a dime.
Sure.
And then the last 4 months, you have not been paid.
Exactly.
But you had up to August, you say, to complete the processes for regularization.
Yes. So officially, we started work on the 10th of September, 2024.
Right.
Yes. So prior to that reopening date, between July and August, or any process that we need to, go through, we did everything. And then officially, if I have not gone through the process, nothing will guarantee me to start work on the September 10th.
Right.
So we did that, and then officially, and what we were told was that the staff IDs, for instance, are released in batches, and so there was no need to rush at the initial stage.
Because that was your understanding,
exactly,
that it will come eventually.
Yes, and even the first batch came around December. So there was no need to rush. So we were waiting, and then along the line, there was this letter that came that people whose names are not found and on payroll should have their appointment revoked. Even with that, we didn't, put ourselves in that shoes, because we know we are coming from the colleges of education, teacher training, so some of these things do not necessarily affect us. And so it got to a time, then we had to go back to the regional offices for revalidation, of which we did. And so after that, there was another release of staff IDs. Yet we couldn't find our names in it. And then it looks like we have been waiting for long. So that is when, around April, we decided to ask questions and then seek clarification as to why this whole thing is happening. It was there that we were told the clearance had expired.
I see. Mr. Adogo, for those who do not know the essence of the staff ID card, what would they do for you? Somebody who may be arguing, if Mr. Adogo doesn't have a staff ID card, he can still go ahead and teach. What does it mean? What does a staff ID card mean for you, the teacher?
So, as a government worker, the staff ID is basically your insurance to tell you have been employed.
Right.
So without a staff ID, you have no business with the government. Yeah, so that is the main importance of the staff ID.
And as of now, you feel that the government has not properly engaged you?
Sure. Because we are yet to know if, like my brother said earlier, a communique came that those who had their appointment prior before the elections were revoked.
Right.
So if up till now, after even going through all the processes that we were asked to redo again, and we still don't have the staff ID, what is the guarantee that we are still employed?
So this whole thing is about your job security.
Sure.
Primarily, and then your unpaid
Yes.
salaries. Okay. Daniel Fenyi is joining us on the phone line. He speaks for the Ghana Education Service. Daniel, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Morning, Johnny. Thank you for having me.
Great. Are you able to confirm if the aggrieved teachers indeed brought the petition as the Deputy Director General yesterday advised?
Yes. So I am able to confirm that, yes, a section of teachers picketed yesterday, and they presented their concerns initially orally. And, our thinking was that typical of picketing protest demonstrations, normally the concerned people would come with a petition, official petition. But our interactions with them, we realized that they didn't come with an official one. So after they had presented orally to us, we advised that they put it on paper and present to us, so that if there's, so we gave them a response there and then, some assurances there and then. The Deputy Director General, Professor Smile GC, interacted with them. Then they sent a petition to formally, which we have responded to the petition this morning with a press release. These conversations go to emphasize that the concerns of these teachers, their worries, are very much on the table of the new management of the Ghana Education Service. Even though this is a concern or a problem we inherited, we still feel that government is a continuum. We are supposed to continue what we inherited. If it were good, I'm sure we would have taken it for ourselves. So if it's also a challenge, then we have to be up and doing and address them, and that's what we are doing. Now, the confirmed information we have is that this is a group of teachers who completed the College of Education in 2022 and then did their national service 2023 and then in 2023 and then got absorbed into the system in 2024. They are 12,807 in number. However, I realized that payment of their salaries and the issuance of their staff IDs, 9,950 got their salaries and their IDs by the end of December 2024. So by that time, the clearance had expired. So we came to meet an expired clearance, and 2,113 had received their staff IDs but no salary. 2,113 staff IDs, no salary, and then 582.
Right.
Had not received their staff IDs. They had not received their salaries too. So these are the two groups that I would say are the teachers concerned now.
What would you say is the cause of the delay for the issuance of these ID cards and, if you will, for the payment of these salaries?
So we conducted a validation exercise across the country. That was the first thing we did. And some of the findings we had was that, one, of course, there are slow administrative processes that affected some of them. And so we would believe that for some of them, general administrative processes delayed them. For some of them to realize that, when you are recruited, you are asked to submit your documents, i.e. your certificate, degree, diploma, sometimes senior high school. You are asked to submit your SNIT numbers, your Ghana card numbers, and all that. We realized that for some of them too, those were the challenges. There were some inconsistencies in their SNIT numbers. For some of them, we realized it was inconsistencies with their Ghana card numbers. For a couple of them, we even noticed that the delays were due to self-reporting, or they wanted to report. Not all of them wanted the district or the region or the specific school they were posted to, and so they were working on their reporting here and there, back and forth. And by the time they realized the delay has been caused, and we came to inherit all these varied concerns and varied issues that we are working on. So one of the first steps we did was, of course, the validation exercise for us to understand what exactly has happened and why the delays even took place. So we understood that. Then number two, we knew that this one it basically has to do with the issue of money and salary. So we quickly, through the Ministry of Education, wrote to the Ministry of Finance and we interacted with them, the concerns, the salary issues and all that. Fortunately for us, the Ministry of Finance made budgetary allocation for us in the 2025 budget. So budgetary allocation has also been made, fortunately for us. So the conversation of, we are not sure whether we are teachers, we are not sure they will sack us, we are not sure we are proper teachers and all that, I can confirm to you that budgetary allocation has been made for the College of Education graduates. For them, they receive posting. So it's not even a conversation of, we are not sure whether we are teachers. They will take us out. They will take us off. No, they are not in that category of conversation. And so budgetary allocation has been made. So that was another step we took to address it.
So if I hear you, sorry, you go to point number 3, but if I hear you clearly, you are saying that there are fears of not being recognized as teachers who are properly on the payroll of government is nothing for them to worry about because that is not really an issue. Is that what I hear you say?
100%, Johnny. And I will emphasize again that the fear of we are not teachers, they will take us off. We are not sure whether they will give us salaries. That one is out of the conversation, out of the discussion. These teachers are graduates of the College of Education, completed in 2022, did their national service to 2023, got their appointment in 2024, even resumed duty in September 2024. We know them for sure. Their number is 12,807. Not a single one of them will be taken off the system. Not a single one of them will be laid off with the excuse that they don't have their staff ID or they have not received their salaries and all that. That fear should be removed from the system. We are working. We have had conversations. The process has taken some time, of course, but we have had conversations up to this point where we are at the final edge of the discussion. And so, in fact, this is not the first time they are picketing. If my memory serves me right, this should be the third time. When the new management assumed office, that was one of the first challenges we faced was picketing. I think that should be somewhere around April or so.
Okay.
And we got in touch with their leadership. We asked them that, no, with this new management of GES, we don't want to keep anybody in the back. So you the aggrieved people, and bring your own people. And then we, the management of GES, let's bring our people. And then together, these two parties fashion out how best some of these issues could be solved. However, we are noticing that it appears for some of them the issue has to do, of course, with the salary, but more also to do with communication gap. They feel they don't know what exactly is going on, what step has been taken, what stage we have raised, and all that. And the challenge we are observing is that, even though this is the third picketing, at almost every point in time, we see new faces, we see new leadership from them. So yesterday, we were asking of their leaders, and the leaders that came out were not necessarily the same as the previous ones that we have had conversations and discussions with over the period. So at almost every point in time, it looks as though we are now starting the whole discussion. We are now starting the whole conversation. But I can assure you that the conversation has been had since we assumed office. We have gone through every level, every process, every quarter that we have to enter. Now we know there's budgetary allocation for us already, so that is the money issue is settled. For those with issues of who don't have their staff IDs, of course, that is more of documentation process, and then consequently their salaries have to be paid. And some of them to have their staff IDs already, all that they are waiting for now is their salaries to hit the account. We have had all these conversations up to this point, where we are only waiting for the Ministry of Finance to, even though budgetary allocation is made, to release fiscal cash for the salaries of these teachers to be paid. That is the level of the conversation we have had. So this is not a new discussion, or as if we are.
But do we have timelines for this so that they say they won't leave your premises until they get firm word? You are giving them some firm words today, but are there timelines that they should be looking forward to, based on which they can exercise good faith and go back to the classroom, go and meet their students and teach them?
Yes, we would encourage them to go back to the classroom. This issue is dealt with among 4 parties, or even 5. Number 1 is the aggrieved teachers themselves. Number 2 is the Ghana Education Service. Number 3 is the Ministry of Education, the sector ministry that we work with. Number 4 is the Ministry of Finance. I want to suspect that it is even possible that before Ministry of Finance will release some funds, they may need to revert to the presidency or the executive. So probably that could even be 5. And so it becomes very difficult if we as GES alone give timelines. And when, in fact, about 4 or 5 parties or stakeholders are working together on this. However, what I can assure them is that the conversation has reached the final edge of the issue, and so they should expect very positive outcomes in terms of salary payments. And then for those who don't have their staff IDs, getting their staff IDs very, very soon. Putting specific date and time, because we are working together with about 3 or 4 different parties, we may have to revert to them to be very sure that the timelines we put are consistent with the timelines the other parties also have. So for now, I would assure them that money is no longer a concern or an issue. As to whether they will be taken off or they will not be taken off is also no longer an issue or a discussion. We know them, we know their figure, we know their data, we know they completed school in 2022, they did their national service, completed 2023, they were recruited in 2024, reported to school in September 2024. We know every single one of them. And so laying off, kicking somebody off, taking somebody is not a conversation at all. So they should be rest assured that very, very, very soon their salaries and then their staff IDs will be sorted for them.
Well, one of the issues that they raised, Danny, is the fact that they were told at some point that the clearance that they had expired. Was there ever a conversation of that nature that they were told that clearance had expired?
Actually, that's correct. We came to meet an expired clearance. In fact, the clearance expired in December 2024. New management took over around February. In fact, new government took over around January. So the situation we came to meet was that clearance had expired. However, some teachers were not paid. And so we came to meet teachers who are not paid. Some have their staff ID, some don't have their staff ID, but they are not paid generally. But the clearance that recruited them and was supposed to pay them had also expired. And that's the challenge we came to meet. And we are doing everything possible to address. And in fact, we are at the final bottom of the discussions and the conversations. Because the new section of teachers who picketed yesterday, we saw new faces and they brought new leaders to us. It looks as though we are now relaying information or we are now having a conversation on these things. However, these conversations have been had some months ago, and we have had this conversation up to the point where we are at the final edge of release of funds or salaries to them. Yes.
Daniel, I'll have you hold the line a bit because we've been joined on the phone line by labor consultant Mr. Austin Gami of Gami and Gami. Big Uncle, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, John. John, how are you and your team?
I am learning, sir. So we're smoking the peace pipe here this morning. I see the aggrieved teachers have been told by Mr. Daniel Fenyi of the Ghana Education Service, he speaks for the institution, that they know the teachers, they know their numbers, money is not the problem, and very, very soon the impasse that they have will come to an end. Is that what you were aiming for, sir?
Well, it's a great pleasure to hear from him that that is where they are now, and that very soon they can afford to pay them. However, there's a lot of work to be done. That is to say that if truly we have to deploy all these teachers, which is even a greater concern to them than even their pay. Some of them do not have where they are supposed to be, teaching. And so clearly, a lot of work has to be done by the Ghana Education Service and its ministry to ensure that the people have assurance as to what really they want to do with them, and that they can be assured that, like anybody else, at the end of the month, they don't need to be struggling. Albeit, we all know that it's a leftover problem, but we are a government, and so I say we because the entire country is virtually the government. And so it's important that we take it easy and ensure that the right things are done quickly to prevent this kind of picketing, which does not speak well for all of us.
I see. Now, going forward, how should we be conducting ourselves where we give financial clearance and at some point the persons who are supposed to benefit from it to activate their rights on that financial clearance are told that the clearance has expired? People work for 10 months, they don't receive a dime, they don't have staff ID cards. Advise us, how should we be progressing going forward as a country so that we don't get some of these bottlenecks, in our way?
The reality is that government as employer has objectives annually as to what they want to do with their strategies. And therefore, you cannot exceed the number, knowing the estimated income you expect to harvest at the end of the year, albeit every quarter, which you have to use part to pay the people, because we don't have any accumulation of wealth hanging anywhere that we can call upon. And so what number of teachers, by estimation, do the employer want to have for the year, let's say, example, 2025? Is it 1 million people on the exchequer's point of view? Do they have that money? If they have, then it is a certain number teachers, a certain number teachers, a certain number public service. So that is the time they can do the clearance for them to be deployed. You cannot say that every teacher that has completed school at the end of the year will be employed. It's not possible. It's not possible. So I think people should understand this. Stop. Maybe I empathize with them. I empathize with them sincerely. My own relations are part of it. Indeed, even if the person is my enemy, he needs to work. So it's important that we understand that the employer cannot engage all of them at any point in time. But I agree with you that we must communicate this to the entire nation, maybe through Parliament, as quickly as possible. Every year we must know we can only employ X number of people. Then everybody knows. Then you can, it's not compulsory that when you finish training college, you should necessarily be a teacher, even though that's where your first port of call is. You can veer into something else tomorrow when there is opening and it's your desire to be a teacher at all costs, and you veer into it if there's opportunity. So I think that is important. Communication should be the bedrock of everything that we do.
I see. My final question to you before I let you go, sir. Now, the expectation by some watchers of the space is that many of these strike actions, picketing, will come in the coming days, given the fact that there are a few issues here and there. Every grouping has their own issue. CLOSAG recently went on strike. The Labour Commission asked them to go back. And I do understand that most of the unions have their own issues that they want to start raising. How should the government position itself so that they are not hit like a thunderbolt?
It's a major concern, as I said here, to be honest with you. And I've been following your station. I know you are passionately concerned also, because we all want civility in the society. Unfortunately, people appear not to... You see, corporate governance is not a figure of speech. So it's important that the entirety of corporate governance, which is embedded in corporate governance, is industrial relations. And the word is industrial relations. Every Tuesday, I teach those doing masters in industrial relations in Legon, and I'll do that tonight also. Industrial relations is the bedrock. It's relationship. It's like marriage. It's like husband and wife. If you are not in the best of talking terms, you are not in the best of relationships, you can call yourself married people, yet you will not be a happy bunch of. So relationship at the workplace is critical. Otherwise, you will never. And because also we pay people for putting in appearance at the workplace and not based on performance. We don't pay people based on performance. Everybody just go to work and do routine work and return home. We are not strategic enough as a nation. So I urge the president and his team so far are doing exceptionally well. We have to go the next notch, change gear, and ensure we carry everybody, inclusivity, get the people to understand that this is how far we can go. We can't go this way, because the labor unions appear to be a little out of the labor law and procedures. Some management people at various places also appear to be out of joint, in following procedures and processes that are, available both in the law and best practice. That is what is creating the problem. But I think that, fortunately, the government has a certain focus. I pray they will not wait that we'll be visited by a wind of strikes. We have to be proactive in inviting people, in ensuring that we engage them, let them know, share information with them. If we don't share information and people are in darkness, they will operate in the darkness, and that will result in strike. So it's a whole ball game. I think one of these days, if we have time, I'll come to your studio and we can have a long session.
Thank you, Mr. Austin Game of Game and Game. We thank you very much indeed for your time. He's an experienced labor consultant joining us here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We're grateful, Big Uncle. And Danny, let me wrap up the conversation with you and come to the teachers. In fact, let me pick the thoughts of the teachers. So this is what, so far, we seem to be getting, some solution. Adogo?
I'm not really convinced because...
With a PRO, with Mr. Game?
With a PRO.
Okay.
Because when he was speaking, he pointed out that for the staff ID,
right,
it has to do with documentations.
Right.
And with the money issue, it has people they need to consult before they see how best they can go. But now, if you are saying those without the staff ID, you also have to consult all these people before you do the documentation process. Then I think there is still something that needs to be explained to us before we can get it. Because if you can work on the documentation, then later, after everything, the money comes, there is an assurance. But if you have to consult the people that you have talked to before you can start the documentation process and go on to payment, it doesn't really sit well with me.
I see. So for you, all the assurances have not really convinced you?
Sure.
Because it's told you that, look, the ID card, the fear of you not having an ID card, which you interpret to mean that you may be pushed out of the service, is neither here nor there, because they know you came from certain institutions, they know how many you are, they know who exactly you are, so that's not a problem. He says that now government has allocated some funds, so your monies will come very, very soon. And then those were the two key issues you raised. He says, well, Kofi, you're also not convinced?
Yes, to some
Why
extent.
Are you not convinced?
You see, it is not just about having the staff ID and then being okay. There are other things that you do and then the staff ID comes to play. For instance, last term, personnel from National Teaching Council came to our various districts and to our schools to issue the teacher license card. Some of us are sitting here without the license card because we do not have the staff ID. You need it to fast track the process. And so, as we sit now, we don't have the card. That is one. Recently, there were some kind of CPDs and then workshop. After everything, you need to fill some documents via a portal.
Right.
And with this, you still need to input your staff ID.
Right.
Without it, nothing becomes successful.
Okay.
And so, so the staff
ID has become like an opposable thumb.
Exactly. It's just like you're a candidate going to write BEC.
Right.
You need to get an index number.
Right.
Without it, you don't qualify to be a candidate.
Okay.
So for the staff ID, in fact, I know just a call. And you see, we shouldn't have come this far. If it has to do with communication, for instance, we know that our immediate point of contact should be our district officers.
Right.
Right from there, we proceed to regional.
Right. Did you go through that process?
Boss, we've been to everywhere. And so if he's saying that, or they are saying that means of communication is becoming a problem because of the change of faces, I mean, they could communicate to our regional offices. They will also do onward relay to our district offices, and then we'll get it.
I see. Danny, so, hello, Danny? Daniel? Hello, Daniel? Hello, Daniel? I don't think. Kuzu, you have to raise Daniel back on the phone line for us so we can get some clarity from him, because I thought we were making headway, but now you're raising another, supplementary issue regarding, why you need the ID card immediately. Exactly. and what you need to do with it and all of that. So after today, are you going to stay at the Ministry, the Ghana Education Service?
To be honest with you, we are not that difficult, and we do not want to implicate or complicate the situation at all. After seeing the release from the GES, it gives us an assurance that, they've acknowledged our petition, and then some steps are being taken to address the issue. So at the moment, we've dispersed our members to go, and then we are giving ourselves some timeline. It was just unfortunate that he couldn't mention that maybe after 2 weeks, after a month.
He said very soon.
The very soon is what we've been hearing since day one, and that is where we are now. Yes, that is where we are now. And so I want to believe that right after this, we will establish a very strong bond, and then that will aid our communication. Even if they don't reach to us, we will have to make time, and then as the volunteers for the group will be coming there for feedback, so that our people can also relax in a way. And to add to the staff IDs, there's one thing they fail to identify, in that they do not know that, especially those of us without a staff ID, they don't know that once we get a staff ID, the BP will come down a little. Yes.
Oh, your members' BP have shot up?
Oh, boss.
Is yours going up too? Because the way you paused.
Right from here, I'll be going back to the hospital for checkup.
You want to go and check up?
Exactly.
To be sure if you are safe.
If I'm safe. As it stands now, I'm not safe, because I've not had sleep for the entire...
Tell me, 10 months without salary, how have you survived, Adogo? I'm curious to learn.
All right, so I think when I was going, I was able to just rent for 6 months.
Okay.
By the benevolence of my landlord and the elder of the Pentecost Church in the town, Elder Ben, and some the SMC chairman. Sometimes they come and visit you with some foodstuffs, and where I offered my service, I have a couple of teachers there who once in a while try to send you something so that at least you can hold yourself together.
Right. So that's how you have survived, on the munificence of somebody else supporting you from outside.
Yeah.
What about you, Kofi?
It has been difficult. I don't know, we are sharing almost similar situations here when it has to do with, let me begin with rent issues. So like he rightly said, myself did the same thing. I think going in last year, because I wasn't financially buoyant at the time, I had to negotiate with the landlord to, give me some space to pay for half. Even with that, it was just a year advance, but I still have to pay half, that is 6 months, and then give him assurance that probably after some 4-5 months, things will be all right, and then I'll clear the rest. To be honest with you, as it stands now, I've not been able to clear that there. And then one difficult thing I'm facing right now is after I had left for vacation, upon my return, I found out that my light had been disconnected because
you couldn't pay.
For the 10 months, I was able to pay just a month out of the utility bills. If you doubt, I can give you my landlord's number. We can speak to him right now. So as we speak now, I sleep in the dark. I have to go to a friend's place to iron my dresses and everything for school. Yeah, but at the moment, I live in the dark.
I see.
Yes.
And they live in the dark. It's 20 minutes after 9 here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We're speaking with the aggrieved teachers. We just spoke with Mr. Austin Game, who is a labor consultant and also the PRO for the Ghana Education Service, Mr. Daniel Fenyi. Now, joining us in studio is Eric Dafoe. He's a member of the GES Technical Committee. Chama, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Great. What is this whole GES Technical Committee about? What do you do?
Okay, so to begin with, I'll extend my greetings to our viewers and our listeners. This whole technical committee thing came about when we went there for the first time. We met with the Director General, and then we poured out our grievances to him, and he decided to form the committee.
This was this year?
Yes, this year, April. That was April 16th.
Okay. So yours is institutional representation?
Yes.
From which institution?
From the aggrieved
teachers. Okay, so you're part of them?
Yes. So we went there, and then we spoke to him, and he formed the committee. So the committee, he added 2 of us, of our people. One from those of us who are not having the staff IDs, and then the other from those who are having the staff IDs, but they were not receiving their salaries as at that time. So they added 2. Initially, I wasn't part of the 2, but later on in that same month, 30th April, we had our first picketing over there. Okay. And I was added to the committee, of which we had meeting with the chief auditor, the HR, the IPPD coordinator at the head office. So we placed measures, we put measures in place for this whole issue to be
what measures did you put in place? What was your terms of reference, by the way, as a technical committee? Yes. What were you mandated to do?
When they formed the committee, they didn't tell us anything that day. They just took our numbers and then our names, and then the 2 people that were added, they took their numbers, their names, and then we went away. So we were hoping that they would call. They didn't. A week later, I went there with one of the leaders who was part of the committee that time. They didn't tell us anything. We had meeting with the Deputy Director General, MS, and then the HR at the MS office. They didn't say anything about our appointment onto the committee. They didn't say anything like that. So a week later, we decided to picket there. That was 30th April. That was when they brought an appointment letter that they have appointed us onto the committee. Okay. And then we told them that if we hadn't had that picketing, they wouldn't have shown us the appointment onto the committee, that letter. And the letter was stating that they will meet every 2 weeks. And then they are mandated to put measures in place to solve the issue.
Okay, that was your terms of reference.
Yes, to communicate with Public Services Commission and then Ministry of Finance and Controller, Accountant General Department, so that they can.
How many times have you met as a committee, as a technical committee?
We had since the day that we had the picketing. Yes, they haven't called us for any meeting.
I see.
They only call us when they hear that we are coming there to picket.
Yesterday, the Deputy Director General said that the technical committee was working to fix these issues.
We don't know anything about it. Yes.
How come you don't know anything about it? You're a member of the committee.
Yes.
You are 2. We are
members of the committee on paper.
I don't understand.
Yes, I will let you understand. As I said, we are on the committee in case they need information from our people. Right. Then we will give it to them. In case we also need information from them.
So you're more like liaison officers.
Yes.
But have you availed yourself to sit in the meetings of the committee?
They don't call for meetings unless they hear that we are coming there. Before they will say that, we have meeting with you at 10. The same day that we have planned to go there.
Mr. Daniel Fenye, who speaks for the GES, is promising that, look, your ID cards will come, funding is not a problem, it will be very, very soon. How does that sound to you as a member of the technical committee?
We will be satisfied if they are able to give us a specific date.
Okay. All right.
That they are going to give us the staff IDs.
Let's see. But Mr. Fenye is joining us on the phone line now. Chief, welcome back and thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So,
grateful to be here.
So the teachers want a definite date as to when this whole saga of salaries unpaid and then the ID cards will be fixed. Are you able to give us that date?
Yes, Johnny. So I don't know if I mentioned to you, this conversation and this whole issue is dealt with among about 4 to 5 different parties. The Grieved teachers themselves, the Ghana Education Service, our sector ministry, that is the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Finance. And I want to suspect, this is just rumor, I want to suspect that the Ministry of Finance might also be working even with the presidency as well. So if only GES as just one party in the entire conversation comes out with timelines, then it becomes a bit problematic. However, their assurance that I can confirm to them is that budgetary allocation is made for them. That is one. 2, we have had the conversation to the final end of the whole issue. And so if they would confirm, I am sure they would attest that they have already submitted a lot of documents to district level, regional level, and sometimes even to the headquarters. All those processes have been done. So for now, as we talk right now, the whole conversation is there at the final lap of it, which we believe that the final lap is the salary hit in the account. And currently that's what is left. So it's not as if there are some 3 other processes that should be undertaken or 4 other processes. And so if we look ahead, we see that it will take a lot of time. No, all processes have been done. We are only waiting for salaries, and they should expect that very, very soon. Since there's no other conversation happening or no other discussion or processes happening again, they should expect that their salaries to happen very soon. In terms of assurance of their job security, those with staff IDs and those without staff IDs, their job is very much assured. We know the numbers, we know the figures, we know when they completed college, we know when they finished with their national service, we know when they were recruited. We have tracked all those data, all those documents, and we know who exactly we are dealing with. And so I can assure them that they can be rest assured. That issue of our money will not come, we will be taken off, we are not sure whether we are engaged or not, all those conversations we are done with, and so they should only expect that their salaries will hit their account very soon. That's the assurance I can give them. In terms of specific timelines, we may have to refer to the Ministry of Finance, through the Ministry of Education, and all the interest parties involved. Yes.
They also mentioned, while you are away, that, for example, they need the ID card ASAP because, for example, if there are some updates they have to do regarding their PIN and all of that, you'd have to enter your specific ID, staff ID number, and they do not have it. Because they don't have it, there's always that hindrance or impediment in their way. And so are you able to confirm if you can expedite action on the ID card so they can get it ASAP at a definite date?
Okay, so so we inherited 582 teachers without staff ID and without salary. That's what we inherited. However, what I can confirm to you about the seeming delay is that, the ID cards, the staff IDs are related to the salaries. So it is as though once the financial clearance expired and we're not able to issue salaries, then that also had impact on those without their staff IDs too, because the two go hand in hand. Of course, the staff IDs are the ID numbers they have almost as evidence as teachers, and so they use it for beyond the salary for other things. Government is also thinking around the fact that because the staff IDs are so related to the salaries, once the financial clearance comes or the funds are released, then their staff IDs. I can assure them that for the staff IDs, that one borders on documentation issues. They have gone through almost all the documentation processes with that one too. So that one too is just left with generation of the ID numbers. And because it is directly connected with the salaries, we want to connect it with the financial clearance that we are working on now. But they should be, that one to very 100% assured that the system recognizes them as teachers. Of course, they need a number, the staff number, to do other things, especially on the ground or on the field or in their schools where they are. But as at the national level, we recognize them as teachers. They have been issued appointment letters. They have been placed or posted to specific schools, districts and regions, and so we know them. We recognize them as such, and so as to whether because there's no staff ID, they seem not to be really recognized as teachers. No, that's not what we know as Ghana Education Service. We know that they are teachers, they are our staff, they are our own people, we are working with them and all that. But because it is connected with the clearance or the payment of the salary, that would explain why, since the financial clearance expired, they have also not gotten their staff ID.
They say, look, they've given you good faith by asking their people to go home. They are not picketing as we speak at your premises. So show good faith and give them a date.
You know, again, I dare not repeat myself now, but again, I would mention that because it is related to the monies or the salaries, and because we are dealing with several other parties, issuing a specific date or time will become a challenge for only us as Ghana Education Service. We are in touch with all the parties, just as we are connected with our grief teachers, and they will be shocked that we are strongly in touch with the Ministry of Education as well. We are strongly in touch with the Finance Ministry as well, making sure that all the teachers are sorted. So in terms of their insecurities, you know, the staff ID come in to really confirm to you that you are a teacher, you have been taken. So even if your salary is not coming, once you have your number, you know you were a teacher. So I can understand that without the number, some of them are feeling a bit insecure and all that. But as I keep reiterating the figures, we know the numbers we are dealing with. We know when they completed college. We know when they did their national service and completed. We know when they resumed work physically at the various schools that they were posted. In September, they all resumed work. In fact, I can specifically tell you on 10th September, all of them reported to their schools. So we know the numbers we are dealing with, and they are our teachers, they are our people. They don't have any issue with insecurity at all, at least not from us as Ghana Education Service. And so I can give them that assurance, but we are working closely to ensure, with all the interest parties, to ensure that financial clearance finally reaches our account, and then all those processes. In fact, the generation of their staff IDs will no longer go through any long processes because they have submitted all the necessary documents to the various quarters that they need to submit to. So that will not take long, and then their salary will equally be paid to them.
Final question to you. The technical committee member here in studio, Mr. Dafoe, says it appears the technical committee is a facade, it's a whole charade. You only get them active when you hear that the teachers are coming to picket or they are going to demonstrate or strike. But then in reality, they are just liaison officers or conduit belts, taking information from the committee to the teachers and from the teachers to the committee, and that's it. But as to the crux of the matter in terms of the committee work, they are not at the center of affairs at all. How do you respond to this?
Okay, so let me mention that being a channel of communication was one of their legit mandate, because we wanted to keep teachers abreast of all the activities happening at the headquarters. So we break that headquarters image that teachers have. So we wanted them to know at every point in time what exactly is headquarters doing, where have they gone, which office have they entered, which document have they submitted, and all that. So actually, if they are, or the entire committee is a conduit of information, that was actually one of their mandates. In fact, as I speak, I am personally not a member of the committee, but I also resort to the members of the committee from the headquarters angle to get information from them. So the members from headquarters are also a conduit of information for us as management of GES. So actually, yes, it is a legit mandate that they have. And then in terms of the actual activities that they they are supposed to do. I want to believe they say that with the intention that if GES, for example, is going to Ministry of Finance, they should have been part of the team, or if GES is meeting the Ministry of Education, they should have been part of the team, part of the goal. I think that if they have not been part of the people going around physically, right, entering offices, submitting letters, then basically the assumption would be that we agree they are teachers, we agree they are in school, we agree they are in the classroom, we agree many of them might not even be based in Accra. And so, for the GES, we are close to the ministry, and so we are able to easily go to this office, submit this letter, have this conversation with this person. However, some of their leadership are outside Accra, and so calling them almost every point in time that we have to move or we have to see some people might disrupt their activities in school. That would mean that they would have to leave school, travel, come and join the team and go to this place or go to that place. So what we do is that we as much as possible, try to convey information to teach them on what we have done. Occasionally, they come around. However, unfortunately, the few occasions they have come around to have been picketed. And so it becomes a challenge. But how we are in constant touch with them, I can assure you. If they want to be part of the team moving around, I believe strongly that it might disrupt some of their classroom activities or their school activities. But they should be assured that in terms of communication, in terms of discussion, in terms of conversation, in terms of updates on where we have reached, what we have done, where we have gone, they should be rest assured that we would give them those updates so that they wouldn't be left in the dark. In fact, our orientation is that we want to carry them along all activities that we do.
Well, they certainly don't feel that way, and I'm sure that going forward, I'm sure you can repair the relationship, because they insist that, look, they wouldn't have come this far if communication had come to them that the clearance had expired at the district level. They wouldn't have come all the way to the national headquarters to pick it. But I thank you very much indeed for your time, Mr. Daniel Fenyes, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service. We're grateful for your morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johnny, for having me. Great. I'm grateful.
Gentlemen in studio, let's wrap up. Mr. Dafo, I'll start with you. Your closing thoughts. So you heard the responses quickly in 1 minute.